So with the dollar, I'm still very much looking at downside for this one. I'm very much looking at the bullish move we saw at the end of last week being a pullback for some more shorts. However, I've been looking for a little bit more of a pullback than this. Things are looking pretty bearish this morning, but I was hoping to see a slightly bigger correction, which still could come into play around the 108 slash 108.2 area. That's kind of the area I was looking for price to get to before looking for shorting opportunities on the dollar and buying euro, buying pound, and you'll see the opportunities I want to go through. But USD, that is really the take I have with the 4-hour chart for now. We still do have these previous swing highs. All I'm looking to do is try and catch the next one. We've got some really healthy bearish structure, and if we are going to form a lower high, I'm looking for it to be in and around that area. And targets, keeping it pretty simple, back to the prior low. Perhaps we could talk about the lows here at 105.6 as well, but we'll save that for another day. At least look for a push to the low, and perhaps we might go further. For now, that is still very much the move I'm interested in. And as I said, price is looking pretty bearish right now. So potentially maybe the price makes the move already. Not in my area of interest, so I won't be getting involved in any USD positions just yet, apart from dollar CAD. That's still roughly in the area which I'm interested in, which we'll go through in a second. But yeah, USD is looking pretty bearish right now. CSI integrated, you said 106.847. 106.847. So that's roughly around over here-ish. Not bang on the money, but roughly around that area. So I presume you're looking for buys around there to take it back up again. Possibly. I mean, that would be beneficial for myself as well. If price can come back, retest that consolidation, and see some upside, and then I can get my shorts maybe later in the week from this area here. 108 slash 108.2 is the area I'm focused on. So yeah, with USD, that could be a nice place for a long. There was a lot of momentum off the back of last week, so it was a strong breakout. Hence, it would be nice for a retest of this area. Yet to have a retest as well, so it's still relatively fresh. Dropping to the hourly chart, you can see a massive candle breaking through. So it was a strong break. So on the lower time frames, there could be some nice longs there for USD on the way back up before we do get those shorts. So if you are on intraday time frames, hourly and below, perhaps maybe looking for some long opportunities could actually make some sense in some of the USD pairs for now. But this is still a move I am interested in. So if we take a look at Euro, which I'm looking at pretty much the exact opposite. As I mentioned on the weekly analysis, if you haven't checked it out, make sure you go and do so. Post it on the channel on Saturday. But this is the setup I'm looking at for Euro. Nice consolidation there, really strong move to the upside. I'm essentially looking for the next test of this trend line, for the next higher low, and a swing back to resistance is very much the play. So pretty much the opposite of what I'm looking to do on the DXY. Again, likewise with Euro, we've left behind a really strong consolidation here, which price broke through very aggressively on Thursday, I believe. Yeah, Thursday. So perhaps we could see a retest of this before seeing some more downside, which again could be a nice opportunity, probably on the hourly or 30, even 15-minute chart. If you really want to refine the entry, that could be a nice area to take price back down again. So again, not really a move I'm interested in myself, but that could be the trade for most of the week, perhaps. And then maybe Thursday, Friday, we actually do get to these areas where we can discuss some longs. But for now, I do like the shorts there. Really strong break to the downside. USD was very, very strong at the time. So it was a healthy breakout, and I would expect the retest to hold. This could be the higher low for price to push through. So, of course, if you don't see any indication of rejection, step back. But if we do see some aggressive wicks, bearish engulfing candles, that could be a really nice short to take and swing it back into the low. But for myself, from a swing perspective, this is still the idea I'm looking to play for Euro this week, back into 1.05, and again, potentially further. There are some targets I have which I will consider, but we need to get the trade first, and then I'll start talking about 1.06 in a bit more detail. Pound USD, I still really like this one as well. It's looking a tad bullish this morning, of course. Looks like USD is looking a bit weak, so all the USD majors are kind of reacting in that way. But I still do have a really nice area of confluence just below price, which is this lovely level of price support. Oh, didn't mean to do that. Lovely level price support once, twice, resistance twice there as well. We've talked a lot about this level here at 1.25. And of course, we do have that trend line running through the market as well. So I've been looking for price to come back, retest this zone, and then of course form the next higher low for a push, at least back to the high. But I do expect us to see a push back into 1.28 if the market is really going to have that reversal. But of course, a push back into the swing high, it makes a load of sense. And that will be a really nice target back to 1.27. So again, for pound USD, still looking for a deeper correction. So that theme of dollar potentially pushing to the upside a little bit further this week does look good in comparison with pound, in comparison with euro. Kind of does fit the play pretty well. So I'm looking to see if we can get that move. Again, perhaps not. Maybe pound does push the upside from here, but that's just not my trade to take. So I am looking for a little bit more downside for pound into 1.25. Hopefully you can find some entries later in the week. Dollar CAD, I like this one to the downside as well. However, being patient for entries, we are coming back into a nice level resistance. In fact, we're not quite there yet. So again, still want to see a bit more upside for dollar CAD. Again, we had this massive sell-off, massive rejection a couple of weeks back, coming into a really, really strong level on the weekly chart, which is into this resistance once, twice, and now there a third time. You can see the two prior rejection from this level created massive, massive downside. So there is a good chance we do see some more downside in the coming weeks for dollar CAD. And my plan is simply to try and catch that next lower high. We had the first, well, it's not the first high, lower high because it's the high of the market, but we came down, broke structure. So I'm looking for the first lower high and looking to see if we can take it at least back into the low of the consolidation, which is this support level, but more so back into the swing low here at 1.41. So my plan this week is looking to short dollar CAD and see if I can take it back into the lows there. But we'll wait and see. Again, price action in those areas is going to be very, very important. How we reject, how much momentum we see, wicks, size of candles, all of that will play a part whether I do get the trade or not. But we are coming into a nice area where we could see a lower high, which is the most important thing. And I believe we're pulling back into the 50 of the fib as well from this drop. So yeah, more or less coming into the 50, you got the 0.618 just above us. We might spike into that as well, but more or less with a nice air of confidence for a short for dollar CAD, just waiting for a good trade opportunity really. And if I go take a look at Aussie dollar, so Aussie dollar, that was very, very bearish last week. I think Aussie was a bit weak as well. Of course, combined with the USD strength, price had a really aggressive move to the downside. So with Aussie dollar, I'll be looking for some longs on the retest of the consolidation here. Of course, that did not happen last week. We had this counter trend line, which kept the market pretty bearish. I was looking to see if we could have a strong reaction above that trend line, and that would have been my entry signal. However, that never happened. Price stayed bearish, and we had a really aggressive sell. So since we've broken through that, I'm kind of backing away from Aussie dollar and expecting to see a little bit more downside back into the low here, because with an aggressive move like that, with a strong daily candle close as well, strong weekly candle close as well, it does look like momentum has shifted back to the bears here for Aussie dollar. And it does look like AUD currencies and NZD currencies are pretty weak. Currency pairs are pretty weak, with Aussie and New Zealand being exceptionally weak. I think those are the two weakest currencies right now. So yeah, I do think we'll probably see some more downside here for Aussie dollar. And I don't really have a good setup right now for this one. Perhaps there might be some nice pullbacks this week, something like that. And there could be some longs off the low here. But yeah, I don't really see anything high probability for myself just yet. Likewise with New Zealand dollar as well, really aggressive moves to the downside. Does look like price could be pushing back to the low here. There could be a nice correction this week of that bearish move and then a drop. Again, don't really have a nice level to short from other than this low here, but I think that's a little bit far away. I'll still keep an eye on it just in case we do get that pullback. But yeah, I'm not too sure if we'll have a pullback as big as that to get there before some sells. But there was a lot of momentum last week, just about wick through these lows here. We probably will see a deeper test of 0.554 before potentially seeing some upside. But yeah, New Zealand dollar looking pretty weak as well. Going over to gold. So gold was pretty bearish at the end of last week as well, and I'm still expecting a bit more downside for gold as well. I'm looking to see if we can get the retest of the price swing higher over here at 27.89. We've got some support slash consolidation, which price broke out of last week as well. And that's kind of the area I'm interested in for some shorts for gold back into around 2,900. See a retest of that zone and get the next drop, at least back into the prior low. Can always look to try and hold small positions to run to see if we can get back to the high there. But in terms of probability, you've got a great chance of price coming back into here. As soon as you try and push the trade a little bit further, that probability does drop there because we could form a high low at any point and price potentially push on. Let's not forget, gold is still a very, very bullish market despite this bearish move. It's just it might be in a slight counter trend now, a bit of a bearish retracement before we do push back to the upside. But for now, that's still an opportunity I like. We broke structure last week as well. Had some decent momentum there. Could have been a little bit stronger, but it was a decent move. So I'm looking at lower highs and more downside. And silver, I do like silver a lot more than gold, actually. The price action is a bit better. And the reason why I like silver as well is because we're respecting a really, really big level on the daily chart, or daily weekly chart. Really strong resistance here. Price tried to break through last week. It did not end too well. As we can see, price closed above, but more so, it just rejected that area, a bit of a fake out. And now price is firmly below. So for us to push back the swing high here, which was the plan for myself last week for silver, if we got the confident break of this level, are we looking at pullbacks all the way up to the high? Of course, we can see we didn't get that. Price tried to break to the upside, but now it's underneath. So because of that, I'm looking for a move to the downside here, possibly all the way back into the prior low at 29. So in my book, silver looks pretty bearish unless for some reason we get a strong break to the upside this week. Of course, that would change my bias completely and I'll be back bullish again. But unless something like that happens, I am very bearish here with silver. And as I said, looking for a push back down into the support level. So in terms of opportunities for silver, what I am looking at, if I drop to the 4-hour chart, is another lower high. A retest of this area looks pretty nice right now. Something like this, catch the next lower high, and then there's your sell. Ooh, didn't mean to do that. And there's your sell. You've got one high there, another high there, looking for a third one. This is your structure. So you got your low, lower high, lower low, lower high, and then your lower low. So that is very much the plan I have there for silver. And of course, it kind of mimics gold as well. Looking at a lot more downside for both of those markets. So yeah, that's kind of where I'm at with USD side of things. Still pretty bearish on gold and silver, but still very much in retracement mode overall long term. Still very bullish on both of them, but we are seeing some downside here at the moment. And then USD majors, still looking at some deeper corrections, more so looking to try and take advantage of USD weakness. But maybe in the next couple of days, you might still see a bit more strength. So if you're intraday, I think buys do look good, especially on well, sales look good on, especially on EURUSD.